All right. What is up, fam? I'm super excited about today because I have been doing a lot of research on Star Atlas. And yes, as a gamer, I'm super pumped. But at the same time, I have some reservations. And I just want everybody, like, especially if you're from the Discord or anything like that, just pump your brakes on Star Atlas just for a second. This game is super ambitious. And you need to have that mentality coming in just for the fact that this could fall flat on its face. Okay, I'm not saying that it is, but like everybody's just thinking that it's like such a huge game, and it is, but it's not going to be out for 5 to 7 years. And I don't know, take that for what it is. But I also just want to kind of go over my initial like report. I haven't finished my report yet, but I just kind of want to talk you guys through the process of me actually doing reporting and how to do some research. So what we're going to do, we're going to transition to the report right now. Let me get it pulled up. All right. Sorry, I got a cough here. All right. So what we're going to talk about is Star Atlas. So if you're not familiar with Star Atlas, don't worry. I'll kind of give you a laydown of the land here. This is kind of our reports. Shout out to Eric for creating this template. So I see short-term potential not very high, long-term potential really high. I guess if you want to trade it or swing trade it, that's fine. But at the same time, too, long potential here because it has a 5 to 7 tailwind, which I think is going to be longer, and I'll tell you the reasons why here. So, brief description of the project if you're not familiar with Star Atlas. Star Atlas is an ambitious project that has a goal of creating a metaverse on the Solana blockchain, which Solana blockchain is kind of going to the moon lately just for the fact that they have faster transactions and there's so much gas fees on Ethereum that Solana has been like really taking that NFT craze and also just the gaming craze on because it can do 50,000 transactions per second and it's proof of stake model, so it's a lot faster. But Star Atlas, which is built on that layer 1 blockchain, is a AAA title game, and it's like really the first of its kind. So it has first mover advantage if it becomes the first mover. And we'll talk more about that in a second. It's similar to Star Citizen, but I don't really think that it is. I watched a lot of interviews by the CEO. It's more to EVE Online. They have a lot of roots in EVE Online, and they love it. And they have like an economy in EVE Online. I've been kind of studying the tokenomics and the economy that EVE has online. I've been watching some videos of this one YouTuber that kind of goes over the whole type of evolution of it is of EVE Online. And the CEO has like said in every single one of his interviews that he loves EVE. So a lot of the things that he is probably drawing from is from EVE Online, not Star Citizen, even though all the interviewers are asking him about Star Citizen and how are you going to hit the deadlines and stuff. But we'll talk about that. Actually, it's probably important for people that don't know what Star Citizen is to actually understand it. So Star Citizen is a game in which that it took like years to develop, and it's actually still in alpha. And it's just like this super ambitious project that's more of like simulator base of space, and then you can kind of go in on servers and play with your friends, and it's kind of, yeah, look it up if you are interested in it. A lot of people are trying to give parallels to Star Citizen and Star Atlas. It's just, I don't think it's the same, but that's my opinion. Gosh, I'm sorry for my cough. Okay, so what is your brief opinion on the long-term strategy of the project? It's huge, right? So it's a gigantic project. They'll have a web browser game coming out in a few months, so October, November timeframe. They're trying to get it out before the year is done. And then kind of give utility to the NFTs that are just came out 2 days ago and today. The full game release won't be till 5 to 7 years down the road, and I honestly think that 5 to 7 years should be pushed down to 8 or 9. And the CEO, though, I would say that that's the full game. They are laying down in modules in terms of the CEO said like, hey, I'm not opposed, and gosh, geez, he's not opposed to actually releasing game as it's made. So there's be modules like, go into the hangar bay, go into your ship, go into like this one section of the planet. So there's these like releasing of these slow modules instead of like having this full game ready to go. Okay. So they're going to be developing this game in Unreal Engine 5, which I think is a really great way to develop their game with possibilities of users creating content in later years of the release. So year 9 to 10 of like this kind of roadmap, which is a bummer because honestly, I think that they should be a platform like right away, just for the fact that like they get free workers and also it gives like ownership to the space. But again, they don't want like people developing assets and then breaking their game, right? So I understand that too. I was a little disappointed that it's going to be year 9 to 10 until they start thinking about becoming a platform. And that's after like the DAO is taking over more about gamers and they have to vote that in, which is a bummer. This is just pulled straight from the white paper. If you're into that, for me, this is what I wrote here. The game is merging 2 major industries on a large scale, so blockchain and gaming. The blockchain mechanics include 2 in-game currencies that can be traded out for fiat or another crypto such as Solana. So what I'm saying there is that there's in-game currencies. So there's Polis and then Atlas. I'm pretty sure. I could be completely butchering that. Give me a second. Yeah, Atlas and Polis are the 2 cryptocurrencies, and they both have different types of use cases. So Atlas is more of the tokenomics in-game currency. So think of that as like the World of Warcraft, like gold, silver, and copper, or like V-Bucks, or like Robux, or anything like in-game currencies that you use playing games currently. And then they have like Polis, which is like the governance. So like think of like that as like voting rights to be able to move the game in which direction that you want. And you also can like get tax fees from the game. So that's pretty cool. But again, this is a lot. This is, I don't like to say this because I don't want to like trash a game like right from the beginning, but like I feel like they're trying to do too much. That's my personal opinion, from like what I heard, what I've been looking into. And I just feel like they're like shooting for the stars, and like all of their people that are like into this game are like going even farther than that. Like they just like love Star Atlas, and they have like a cult like following already, which is great, but like they have so much to deliver on, because once you have like this cult like following and everything like that, it just becomes a like hard type of achievement to have. So what are the pros of this project? So they're built on the Solana blockchain, which means that they can handle 50,000 transactions a second, which are great. Number 2 is the concept of the game and theory of the game is revolutionary. So if they actually get this done, they achieve even like maybe 50 or 60% of what they're actually set out to do, I would say this game will be revolutionary, because it will have an in-game system with actual transactions and just a whole type of governance system, and like the gamers really own the game. And yeah, it just seems really cool. So I'm super excited about it. Don't get me wrong. I'm super excited about like the game and what it has. But again, I just think it's a little bit too ambitious. They have designers that have worked from reputable companies and game studios in the past, like EA. They're also using some third-party studios that have worked on some really good things like Halo and Call of Duty. And I think that's where they're kind of hiring out. I don't know for certain, so don't quote me on that, but I think that they're hiring these third parties to be able to kind of fill those gaps that they have on their team, because they only have a 300-person team, which I'll get into here. And then quality investors. So they have like venture capitalists behind them that are like very well known. LD10 Capital, I have it down here. LD10 Capital, Amoco Brands, they honestly fund every single crypto game. So I'm starting to realize that, like, you know, I don't know. If you fund every single game, I don't know if you can be like, it's still a pretty cool brand to have invested in you. Okay. So what are the cons of this company? And I'm hesitant to say this just for the fact that like I've been underestimated in the past and I've delivered. And so like I don't ever want to put this like senior game developer on blast. What I am going to say though is the senior game developer seems to have only worked on DS and some smaller titles. This gives me reservations just for the fact that the size and scope of Star Atlas being a AAA title with millions of dollars at their budget, he might be, I don't know, he might be underprepared in actually executing this type of scope of game. And again, I don't like saying that, but I do want to kind of be transparent for investors, is that the senior game developer that is a part of Star Atlas has only worked on DS games and some smaller titles on Xbox and Xbox X and PS5. They're nothing like a full AAA title. That being said, he might be just heading up the browser game. And if he's heading up the browser game, like I'm in a lot more better position and a lot more bullish on the project. So when I talk about the browser game, there's 2 types of games. So there's a browser game that they're trying to do with like a Google Chrome or any type of browser that can be accessed from anybody. And then there's also a Unreal Engine 5 game that can probably be played by only a few people. And that is one of the cons that I don't put out here, but I'll mention it right now. So one thing is it being a very graphic intense game, it limits the people to play the game. Like for me, like the way I invest and the way I like to invest is that if it's accessible on mobile, 51% of the gamers right now, so 2.9 billion gamers right now, 51% of them are mobile gamers. So it kind of cuts out 50% of your revenue that has for this company. And so I don't really like that per se. But again, too, like World of Warcraft wasn't like, completely open for everybody. And that did phenomenal, right? So I could see that as a negative, especially being a blockchain game where it's global and can be played by a lot of people. I mentioned this before, but it's too much at one time. It seems like they're getting into a lot, and only 300 people are working on this project. And that's not accounting for the third party, so I will give them that. But there's 300 people on the team, not so much 300 game developers. There's just 300 people, and it's growing. And the CEO says that he's growing as of like 2 or 3 weeks ago, that, people are probably applying and coming into their office every single day. But 300 people is a very small team. And to put it in perspective, I compare it to Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption with like 1,000 devs, like 1,000 developers that work on this game. I'm not saying that the team needs to have like 1,000 developers or anything like that, but I'm just trying to say like the scope of this game is kind of Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption level, maybe even higher. And it took Grand Theft Auto like 7 years to make, 5 to 7 years to make, with 1,000 devs, with an engine that's already been developed, and they understand. They've had like, Grand Theft Auto 3, 4, and then Grand Theft Auto 5 came along. They could at least use that game engine, and they also have game developers that understand that game engine already to build upon that. So 5 to 7 year time frame, I just don't think they're going to hit it. Personally, if they do, that's great. I'll be in, and I'll be the first one to say, hey, I made a mistake. But Red Dead Redemption, still having a similar game engine from Red Dead Redemption 1, sorry, this is Red Dead Redemption 2, took them 11 years to develop with 1,000 plus developers as well on the team. So if you're trying to be this grand scale game, it's just hard for me to kind of compute that like Take-Two Interactive with 1,000 plus devs can get a game done at like 11 years, 5, 8, 7 years with 1,000 devs, and a 300 team, not a 300 developer team, can get it done in 5 to 7. Again, they're definitely okay with releasing like modules. And that's a question that I have for the dev team. And if you guys are watching this by some stretch of the imagination, and if you are here, like it, so I can probably get this video in front of them, that'll be really cool, or even be able to interview them, because there are questions, and I wanna ask them for the investor and for the gamer, because I feel like they are, they should know. I think that there should be realistic timelines on a project if there is. And so, again, one man's perspective. They're also not opening up a creation platform from users until like 7+ years. So I think this was Jake, who's the host of On-Chain Gaming. He's a stud. I really like the content that he puts out. But he was doing a CEO interview, and the opening up of creation came out, like the platform method, which is like the most like revenue generation, like, Apple Store, the Google Store, all of those are platforms in which that you can build upon to be able to make revenue. Like they're not doing that. So they're not going to be able to do that unless they're voted out of the governance system, which that might be confusing for some. But if you're understanding Star Atlas, you know that. So if they get voted out of the governance system and they don't have majority stakehold of the governance tokens, then the players can decide, hey, we want to bring in another like version of this ship or anything like that a user creates. And that sucks to me. Like, I think like with the blockchain, and what everyone loves about the blockchain is that like everyone's developing and everyone's making things. And so I just wish that like they just gave the power to the players to create things like right from the beginning. Not 7+ years down the line, where they've had a pretty good control over the project. And I don't know. That's more of a personal thing. I'm more bummed out about that. It's not like anything about the game or knock on the game. I just think platforms are awesome, like the sandbox, for example. Okay, so I haven't really gone into the leadership as much as I want to. I've listened to maybe 3 or 4 hours of the CEO's interviews. He pretty much says the same thing throughout, littered with some little things. Jake's, if you do watch an interview, I would watch Jake's from On-Chain Gaming. He had a pretty good one, and he kind of pressed him a little bit when he asked him about like what kind of games have they developed in the past, and Michael Wagner kind of glossed over that a little bit. To be fair to Michael, though, there were 2 questions in it, so he just answered one, but he did not answer like, you know, the previous games and stuff like that. So Danny Floyd and Jacob Floyd. So Danny Floyd is in charge of the full game design, and then Jacob Floyd is in charge of the mini game. So those are like the co-founders of the game. But then there's like a whole other type of suites. And I thought like I kind of put out all these different types of people that are like, I think make some of the big decisions. I did not actually put the senior game developer down here. Let's look them up real quick. Okay, so all of these guys are legit. Like they're pretty cool. And I wanna show you guys this guy, Sparasoft. So Sparasoft is a third party people that like are working on the game, and they have a very impressive lineup, right? So they have all of these like Rainbow Six Siege, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Halo Infinite. So these are people that actually do some of the development work for Star Atlas. Another one is Hydra Studios. I don't want to click on that because it makes my computer run super slow. But these guys are most likely the team that made the Star Atlas trailer. I don't think that came in from in-house, or it could have been a combination of the both. But Hydra Studios looks like the one that made that trailer. So again, like I don't see the team being this big to work on this size of a game, to be able to deliver on the 5 to 7 years. Granted, they're going to get like developers and people, and like they can outsource as much as they can. But again, super ambitious project, as well as you're layering on top of that like the economics of like the whole game. And that's like the economics of the game is like very well developed. And it's again, like the more complicated it gets, the more things could get wrong. Okay. I don't know. I find that in the Navy all the time. The more, you know, things get laid on, and the more people that are from like you to the division head, or you from like the captain, it becomes an issue where like there's a miscommunication. So the more people, the more outsourced, the more types of modules you build on top of this, it becomes a little bit more harder to juggle. But team, you know, these guys up here, I don't think it's their first rodeo. I think they've worked on, these guys have worked on games in the past. I believe one of them worked for EA. Michael Wagner ran a business before. And the engineering team, the senior game developer, John Soller. So we'll just go through his previous development experience. So he has like the skills necessary. So work experience, so this is the titles that he's worked on. And so I'm pretty sure he's doing the browser game. It makes sense because of all of his HTML experience, DS experience, more smaller games. I just don't know where like the Unreal Engine 5 is happening. And so I think John Soller, he's definitely equipped to do the HTML browser game, if that's what he's doing. But if he's going to be in charge of like this Unreal Engine 5 with a lot of devs, I have some reservations, which I would love to talk to him about it and like get the warm and fuzzy. But again, I don't have access to that material. I just have access to what he's worked on in the past. Okay. Developer community. Game is still in development if you don't know. Estimated browser game to be released in Q3, Q4 of 2021. They have a roadmap to 5 to 7 years of development of the AAA title, and maybe in year 3 have a playable map that is smaller in scale for people to play. That happened in one of the CEO's interviews. And that's all I have right now. I'm still in the process of creating it. Their economic system, or the token system, tokenomics, is like gigantic. And there's just so many ways that you can actually make money. And yeah, it's really cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I want Star Atlas to succeed, because it would be amazing to have a metaverse to be able to get into, play with your friends, be able to mine resources, then come back and everything like that. Like, that's so cool. Like, as a gamer, I'm super excited. As an investor, I have my reservations. But again, too, like, I'm a gamer at heart. I loved playing games, and I want them to succeed so bad. I just like want some more solid information, especially if I'm going to go all in on like investing in the tokenomics and everything like that. Again, I feel like there's more low-hanging fruit that I can invest in as an investor, and like really just kind of go into like D-Race or PKR poker, things that are just like very simple, very easy, accessible on mobile, on the blockchain, using cryptos, and they're not trying to like change the world, but there's definitely going to be revenue going through them, and their market cap is super small. They're in the micros, like 5 million, 3 million, and they can easily go to 100 to 200 million easy. And that's what I'm looking for right now, just because I want to try to reduce my risk and stuff like that. And 5 to 7 years is a long time. There's a lot of people that can come in and like, Take Two Interactive can be like, hey, you know what? I don't care about my stakeholders. I am doing NFTs now. And now, like, every Grand Theft Auto player online is an NFT, and it's just a lot of competition. As soon as they see the revenue models of all of these blockchain games, it makes no sense for them not to switch over. But again, there's like all these type of like red tape that they have to go through. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of say that, just kind of say like, just be cautious out there with like Star Atlas, and don't put all your eggs in one basket. Like, that's the one thing that I just want to stress out, is like, I don't mind you investing in Star Atlas. Actually, I picked up like 5 NFTs the other day on the ship game, because I like would love to play it on the browser. Like, I'm just saying, like, don't go like put your life savings or take out a loan to put it in to this game. Like, just don't do that. Spread it out. Make sure you're being safe out there. Be prepared for this to go to zero. Like, I'm not saying that like it will. I'm just saying it's a possibility. And it's your choice and your chance to kind of put your money where your mouth is. If you really believe in this, great. I'm just saying, hey, I'm not going to put all my money in this. I'll put like a few hundred, a few thousand, but nothing more than that as of right now, until they prove me otherwise. And I would love to just be completely slapped on the face and be like, hey, you're completely wrong about X, Y, and Z, and this is why. I just don't have that information right now. Would love to talk to anybody that does. As always, though, love you guys. Peace.